Good morning, my friends. I'll never forget the first time I sat down with a dental insurance representative and started asking questions. I began with questions based on all the false information that had been thrown at me through the years regarding PPO contracts, such as sending in your fee-for-service fees will increase reimbursement fees, and or you can't upgrade patients on PPO plans, you'll go to jail, it's illegal, and many other things. And her response to my questions was very interesting and not what I expected. And we begin our podcast right there.
Welcome, all of you fantastic dental podcast listeners, to the My Practice, My Business Dental Podcast Show, where we help dentists profit and thrive with excerpts from the clinical business of dentistry training here at My Practice, My Business. We'll be addressing and answering questions with current trends dentists and their teams face each and every day in their pursuit of this wonderful career we call dentistry. And now the host of our show, the clinical director and president at My Practice, My Business, Dr. Rob Thorup.
She said, I have no idea where those statements have come from. I've not heard anything like that from my coworkers or from colleagues from other dental insurance companies. And she went on to tell me that if dental thought leaders were so uninformed as to believe and regurgitate this type of information, and if dentists are not willing to read their contracts and know their rights, it's on them, not on the dental insurance companies. And I know that sounds ruthless, but they're right. Insurance reps attended and lectured at the UDA convention for many years. They did that many years ago, all the time, only to be met with anger and harsh words as they tried to teach dentists and their teams how to use business skills to shift financial responsibility to patients and away from the practice. Hence the title, Business Stupid versus Business Smart in the Dental Profession. Let's tackle some regurgitations of misinformation that continue to swirl in the chat rooms and private group sites on social media. I see this all the time, and Tracy and I, we respond all the time to some of this stuff. Here's one of my favorite examples. And by the way, when we respond, oftentimes the conversation's just taken down. Kind of makes me wonder if somebody's just planting that information from insurance companies or trying to stir the pot. But here's an example. You should send in your fee-for-service fees for increased reimbursement rates. For years, this has been a popular statement from dental consultants and dental association leadership. And what did insurance companies do with these inflated fees? Nothing. It's been reported to us that some insurance workers would just throw them in the trash. Think about this. When you negotiate reimbursement fees every 2 years, what do they ask you to send in? That's right, your fee-for-service schedule. Now, why would they ask you to do this if you've been sending in your fee-for-service fees on your dental insurance claims month after month? There are two explanations for this that I can only think of. One, when you send in your fee-for-service fees on your claims to allow the dental insurance company to show on the EOB a huge discount the patient receives by being part of their dental plan and going to one of their in-network providers, that's one reason why they want you to send it in. Just so they can show the discount. Not what they paid out. They don't want to show that. They just want to show the huge discount by being part of their panel. Good for you, HR group, for being part of Delta or Cigna or Met. You know, look what you saved. Not what we paid out. Of course, the reimbursement or you've heard me talk about this, the fees that they take in premiums can't justify paying us what we should be paid. And of course, they're not going to draw too much attention to how little they paid out on the claim, because that would be business stupid on their part. Two, they sometimes might just do a quick look at your fee-for-service fee schedule when renegotiating reimbursement fees, and that's about it. So here's a simple fact. Dental insurance plans will never allow your fee-for-service fees to dictate their reimbursement fees on dental procedures. And anyone who believes, anyone who believes that is misinformed. Anyone who teaches that is business stupid. Their reimbursement rates are set on two things: what their profit margins are in a geographical area and what amounts dentists are willing to accept on dental procedures by being a planned participant. What dentists are not willing to do, for some business stupid reason, is to read their dang dental insurance provider contracts. Actually read them and study them and work those contracts like a business. Instead, dentists and their front office teams I keep lumping you guys. Well, I have to. You're the gatekeepers and cause a lot of problems a lot of times. So dentists and the front office teams keep standing in line to eat their status quo sandwiches and drink from a fountain of false information. There, I've said it. You guys almost love it. You live to do that. In our recent roundtable discussions with several dental insurance representatives, we pointed out the reasons we and the offices we teach do not send in fee-for-service fees on claims and instead submit the actual contracted rates. It's very interesting that they had no idea why we refused to send in fee-for-service fees until we raised the following talking points. These talking points were eye-opening to them, as no one, and I mean no one in all their years, have ever had this discussion with them. Point 1. Sending in fee-for-service fees on insurance claims becomes an accounting nightmare when trying to balance actual production with expected collections on procedures. And this is what drives front office team members nuts too. And of course, there are practice management applications that allow you to run both columns of fee-for-service fees and contracted fees side by side. But what a pile of crap for your patient to see on treatment plans. By linking your patients to the actual fee schedules, you can have accurate treatment plans and clean accounting of actual production. But this becomes a problem for a dental insurance company because they can't show their clients the incredible savings from your high-priced, gouging and nickel and diming fee-for-service fees, which most of you do not have anything close to retail profitability on most of them. That's a whole nother problem. And well, I don't really care. Having said that they had no idea it was an accounting problem for dental practices to send in their fee-for-service fees. And they agreed with us and supported our position that it's an accounting nightmare, okay? So it's amazing what can happen when level heads actually sit at the discussion table in a room and talk these things over. Point 2, it's becoming more well-known in the investigative and dental practice world that fraud and embezzlement are much easier to hide when EOBs have write-offs all over them. No, not trying to teach you front office team members how to commit fraud and embezzlement and not get caught. That's not what I'm doing. It's such a easy area of opportunity, though, for dishonest employees to pocket money from the practice when there's all these write-offs on the EOBs. And would you believe that our dental insurance reps, again, had no idea about this being an accounting theft opportunity for office managers? This is another area where dental association leaders could sit down with dental insurance leaders and have mutually beneficial conversations. Dental associations often drive the drop insurance plans wedge topic. Instead of teaching dental business skills and having open dialogue with dental insurance leaders, sure would be a big difference if we all sat down at the table and talked about these things, right? Point 3, why would we waste our time with points 1 and 2 in hopes of meaningful reimbursement increases when they only amount to a percentage point or two at the very most? There's no way insurance companies can increase reimbursement rates with the cost of living when the premium rates they charge for dental insurance, they don't increase at a similar rate. Everyone out there in the dental consulting world beats the drum of battling for greater insurance reimbursement payments to dental providers. And those reimbursement increases will never happen unless insurance companies increase their premiums many times the current price that they're collecting right now. And that's why dental insurance is not true insurance. It's a dental benefit plan that pays a shrinking percentage of a patient's oral healthcare costs. Or I love this, as one dental insurance rep stated. She said, quote, dental insurance should be viewed as a coupon book with savings on certain procedures, end of quote. Well, that's it's like we sit there and try to beat the insurance companies up for greater reimbursement rates. So many of the procedures that we're reimbursed on would have to increase by 80 to 100% before we're even profitable by procedure. That's a whole nother story. Something that we teach in our advanced dental business training, and how to actually obtain procedural profitability. So point 4, there have been several instances when we've submitted our newly negotiated higher reimbursement rates only to have the insurance company use our old rates to pay the claims. When you are submitting your contracted fees instead of your fee-for-service fees, it's easy to catch this software error. They call it a software error, BS. I call it, they flipped a switch to try and pad their pockets. The EOB was saying we had to write off the difference between our submitted fee and the contracted fee. Nope. They had to pay us the difference. Had we submitted our fee-for-service fees, we likely would not have caught this supposed glitch in their software. And the problem would have continued for many months or years. How much revenue would you have lost with that little error on their part? And good luck trying to go back through all your claims and trying to resubmit them. What a waste of time. So, that's like such a major talking point. You get that increase and they flip the switch, it goes back to the other one. If you're submitting your fee-for-service fees, you'll never see it. If you're submitting your actual contracted fees and they flip that back, you'll know, because there will be a price difference in what you submitted versus what you received. Another talking point Tracy and I covered with our dental insurance reps was that current reimbursement rates do not come close to procedural profitability, which I've mentioned. We have a ton of data on this subject with regard to the direct operating cost per hour that's required to run an average dental practice. This is the most important statistic ever, yet nobody trains on this except for our company. When you factor in the cost of living from state to state, the direct operating costs to run an average dental practice, they remain fairly constant. What do I mean? Regardless of where you practice, Utah, California, Texas, or New York, the direct operating cost per hour ratio is about the same after you factor in the cost of living in the state you reside in. So in Utah, the average dental practice has a direct operating cost of about $510 per hour, and that's a dentist that doesn't have any debt. And if the dentist has an annual gross income of a big whopping $170,000 a year, I know some of you guys out of state, we don't want to talk about it. I know what you're thinking. That's not your target income. Dentists in Utah and beyond should make much more than that a year. I mean, are we able to recruit the best and the brightest at $170 a year? No. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Most general dentists will have a total chair time of 2 hours for a crown restoration from start to finish. From the dental assistant setting up the room until the final cleaning. So don't try to shave that down, right? So it's on average, it's 2 hours for a crown restoration. So if you have a DOC of $510 an hour, that's $1,020 of direct operating costs to do that crown as a standalone procedure. And yet the average dental insurance reimbursement rate here in Utah is $710 per crown. Some PPO plans are a little higher. Even at $710, the practice is $310 in the red because it took you $1,020 of direct operating costs to produce that $710 unit. So they have to add a buildup. Every office tries to add a buildup and have double hygiene going at the same time just to break even. And if you think that's bad, we won't even bring up reimbursement rates or on composite fillings, and we won't get into low staff salaries here in Utah or other states, or purchasing the cheapest materials possible to perform a procedure. We call that the race to the bottom, right? And what's really scary is that $510 an hour, that's just to break even. That doesn't include money going into your retirement fund. It doesn't account for anything you want to purchase, equipment, anything like that. Oh, no. Because if you start looking at that number, now you're up to around $610 an hour. Oops. When we pointed out this procedural business loss to our dental insurance reps, they were shocked. They actually couldn't believe, they thought we're so rich. Dentists are so rich. Again, no one has had a conversation with them like this and show them the data. Where are the dental association leaders to advocate on our behalf with these insurance companies? Why is there no open dialogue on this issue? And the answer to both of those questions must be they don't know what they don't know on both sides. Next, we opened up the topic of dental insurance contracts and how dentists and their front office team members never read them, which led to how the contracts have verbiage in them on procedural profitability, yet no one knows about it. Right in the contract, right in your insurance contract. Nobody knows anything about it except my practice, my business. Sadly, so many in the dental community continue to embrace the social media voices promoting the uninformed status quo ideologies that we see out there. So please understand that it's the goal of any dental insurance business to keep their premiums low in order to compete for customers. They're a business like anybody else. Then they try to pay out as little as possible in the way of dental benefits and show the largest possible cost savings to their clients. It's that simple. This is their business model. It's how they succeed in their industry. They will take advantage of capitalism and the free market system any way they can, like any business does and or should. And I'm glad they do, because savvy dental business owners can actually do the same. And why don't we? Because we don't know what we don't know. We don't know business. Hence the three main courses, the training courses that we have here at My Practice, My Business. It levels the playing field. That's all our training does here at My Practice, My Business. Is it levels the playing field so that you practitioners can learn how to be profitable by procedure and actually run your business smoothly. However, in dental business, we first need to overcome some old thinking to get there. Dentists seem to adopt the uninformed status quo as thought leadership when it comes to the delivery of oral health care as a business. And what is that uninformed status quo thinking? Well, here's 5 points for you to noodle on. 1, treat every patient as if they want free dentistry and find a way to give it to them. It's funny is I had to actually stop recording right there because I know what you guys are thinking. Wait, that's not what we do. But it is the uninformed status quo thinking. I just started laughing out loud so much I had to stop recording. I apologize. But that's what you do. You find a way to give it to them for free. 2, you purchase the cheapest supplies and lab prosthetics that allow you to sleep at night. What does that mean? You know what it means. It means that you won't buy the most expensive crown. You don't want the cheapest crown, so you buy the middle grade crown because you think that'll allow you to sleep at night. Oh my gosh. No, you need to dump that philosophy. 3, pay our employees and ourselves the lowest possible salaries because we don't want our patients thinking we are gouging them to support lavish lifestyles. 4, allow doctor altruism, thinking, and guilt to be a blocker to dental business success. There's another one. You know who you are. 5, keep doing the same status quo things we've always done. Then wonder why we get the same results over and over again. Heaven forbid that we actually find success in our dental businesses, that we charge fairly for the dental services we provide, that we actually know what that fair charge should be, actually, and that we cover our direct operating costs per hour with a 30 to 50% corporate profit margin, and that we bring happiness and stress-free living most of the time to ourselves and our employees. Heaven forbid we do any of that. By the way, a 30 to 50% corporate profit margin, that makes you a wholesale dentist. We're supposed to be retail by any definition of business. You've heard me say it before, so let me say it again, and I'll keep saying it. Procedural profitability exists within the very dental insurance contracts and state laws that govern dental care in your state. You just need to be taught the applications of those rules and regulations. You have to learn business skills and apply those rules, the rules within those contracts and state laws. So learn the rules and know when to push back on the insurance companies when they try to get you to break your own state statutes. Know how to turn them in to the state insurance commission, and hopefully you have a state insurance commissioner that actually you can file a complaint with that they can go after the insurance companies on. That's another issue with a few states. We are well aware that there are 3 states that have allowed dental insurance to bully dentists into submission, and we are continuing that fight against them. But you need to help. You need to actually help and hold your associations accountable. The ADA can make Delta Dental of Washington and Delta Dental of Oklahoma and Hawaii Dental Services obey state laws and their own contracts. But what are you dentists in Washington, Oklahoma, and Hawaii doing to hold your state dental associations accountable to you and the members? You are the members of your association. Are they there just to get a plaque to hang on their office wall, or do they really care and want to represent you as representatives of your association, the president, president-elect, however you're set up? You know, all it takes is weekly phone calls and emails. That's a great place to start hammering them and tell them to copy Utah's laws and hold those dental insurance plans accountable. The court of public opinion's another area. Local media is a good place to tell your story. Motivate local HR departments to choose a dental insurance company that allows their employees to have choice with 0 restrictions to pay for better products and technology, medications, advanced procedures, and actual CDT codes that are non-covered services that they have no right telling you that are inclusive. Instead of you, doc, eating the costs. No business does that. Blue Cross, MetLife, Regent, Cigna, Aetna, and many other insurance companies do not try to control the quality of dental care their clients, your patients, can choose, like Delta has. Nor do they try to control the additional costs of the better products, technology, medications, and advanced procedures your patients choose and want. Offering choice increases net revenue in your dental practice. No, it's not unbundling. No, it's not illegal. It's actually business smart. It's fair to the patient. It's what all other businesses do, from optometry to your local supermarket. Back in the day, Blue Cross Blue Shield used to be the insurance to work with. They were the best reimbursers. They were the easiest to send in claims to. I don't know if I can say that today, but I do know this. When dentists actually started telling their patients that story, HR departments and patients started switching to Blue Cross Blue Shield. What a story we can tell in the court of public opinion. If we don't change with the times, our profession is going to continue to be controlled by outside influence. And I believe in supporting our dental associations, but I also believe in holding them accountable to their members. Hold leadership's feet to the fire. but don't forget to help them along the way. Freeloaders, we must not be. Support your associations, but help them. Like Tracy and I have done with the Utah Dental Association, we have a fantastic executive here who's not afraid to battle. And that's what every state association needs. Work with them, and then if they don't want to work with you, call us. Let us know, because we can get our executive calling yours. And together, we're a lot stronger than we are individually. Thanks for listening. I hope you all have a fantastic day.
Thank you for being with us today. Since 2006, My Practice, My Business has been teaching dentists and their teams business skills, dental insurance contractual protocols, and state laws governing how to profitably bill patients fairly for the need-based services they provide. What's more, we guarantee our training, unlike other dental consulting companies in the industry. Simply stated, if you don't increase your net revenue, we don't get paid. We call it dental consulting the way it should be. We believe there's never been a more important time than now for dentists to experience and implement our key methods, knowledge, and business training within their dental practices. To learn more about our guaranteed, no-risk clinical business of dentistry training that is changing dental practices for the better, just go to our website, mypracticemybusiness.com, and surf our pages for additional information about our company and the services we provide. When you're ready, give us a call and get scheduled for the most profitable dental business training that you will ever experience. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call us. Thank you again and have a fantastic day.